Well, hello and welcome to The One Show with Alex Jones.
And Matt Baker. And just as the weather turns unseasonably mild, well, we've gone for the full deep freeze look. Welcome to our One Show ice cave.
Isn't it lovely? We've got nice penguins, we've got robins all over the place, so keep your eyes peeled as we go.
Yeah, and a bear behind.
Yeah, yes, it's cold for a bear behind, but we have got one. Now, how surprised would you be if we told you that a peer of the realm has recently been involved in a major political scandal?
Thankfully, this one has only written a musical about it. Please welcome Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Yes!
Nice to see you.
So, yes, Alex and I, we've had a busy weekend putting up all the decorations. How does this compare?
Well, it's freezing in here. Are these things, though, ice or...
Stalactites of ice.
They're not going to catch fire or anything, are they?
No, they're definitely not. No, it has to be a constant -6 in here just to keep everything as it is. So
let's get the show going.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
What's the Webber grotto like?
What do you mean?
Well, is your tree up? What colour scheme do you have?
No. I always love a tree, because the kids and the family always love a really big Christmas tree.
Yes.
But we kind of do decorations with cards. I think that's always quite fun. Turn the Christmas cards into something like that, you know. You could hear, you see, you have thousands of them that could all...
Just cards hanging, yeah. Well, on that, people will be sending them in their droves from now on. So we'll adorn the studio as we go. So we can't promise that. We can't.
And you've got a brand new musical out, Andrew, talking about the scandal, the Profumo scandal that rocked Britain 50 years ago, which we'll talk about later on in the show.
Yes, but first, there is a new supermarket name on the high street today with some tempting bargains.
Yes, now then, 350 grams of orange cream chocolates, which were part of a cancelled order, should be £4. Yours for just £1.19. That's a 70% discount. Good, isn't it?
200 grams of stem ginger cookies with 1 month to go till the use-by date. Recommended retail price £1.69. Yours for 29 pence. That is an 83% discount.
Bargain. But there is a catch. The shop is only open to a select group of 500 people.
And Tony Livesey has been to find out why. Well, on the face of it, it does seem like a win-win situation. But, Tony, as you alluded to there at the end of the film, it has kind of divided the community.
Yeah, real card envy. There are people in work who say that they should be allowed to shop there. Why should people on benefits get another benefit? Why can't they be allowed in? And also a lot of people on benefits who are just outside the geographical area saying, we want in as well. While we were filming, they didn't want to go on camera, but people were coming past us with prams shouting, make sure you say we want a card too.
Yeah. But with this being like a pilot, I mean, it's good news, isn't it, to have those people in the ranks coming through that do desperately want to shop there?
It is, yeah. They've had to limit it to 500 because it's a pilot. And above the supermarket, they've got like an educational hub. They're teaching people cookery, how to deal with interviews, that kind of thing, because their aim is to get people into work and off benefits and out the supermarket and get the next lot in.
And you know the people who have the cards then, if their circumstances change, you know, do they have to give the card back?
Yeah, they're reassessed every 6 months, so if their circumstances do change, then they may not be allowed back into the supermarket. That will free up the membership for somebody else.
And what about all of the profits from this? Where do they go?
I specifically asked that. It is a commercial company behind this venture, but they say they have assured me every single penny that they make with the community supermarket will go back into the community supermarket.
And as Matt says, it seems to be a win-win situation. Are these supermarkets likely to pop up in other parts of the country?
They're hoping to, yeah. Their plan for next year is to open another 20. Certainly London, Boris Johnson's interested. They're hoping to open 6 in London. And little clusters elsewhere, because of the demand in South Yorkshire, they hope to open some more there. Maybe Blackpool, maybe Hull, areas of deprivation.
Yeah, it's working abroad as well. I mean, Andrew, what do you think about this? I mean, surely it's a good idea, isn't it?
Well, it's kind of what pret-a-manger do, isn't it, with the homeless, because they give the sandwiches away at the end of the evening. And, of course, anything that stops food wastage is...
Well, that's the other key thing, you know. If this wasn't going to this supermarket, most of that product will be burnt or buried. And that's the issue.
Just a quick note, we haven't really got much time, Tony, but as far as the price of food is concerned, some supermarkets have come up with some big news, haven't they, recently, saying that if Scotland vote yes in the independence, then...
Yeah, Asda and Morrison's have said, look, if Scotland does vote for independence, then the price of groceries will go up in Scotland. At the moment, they subsidise the prices in Scotland through the rest of their UK enterprise, and because of things like tobacco controls, alcohol price controls, and even a government levy in Scotland on food, they say they would treat Scotland as an international market, so shoppers would expect to pay more.
Right. Tony, thanks ever so much indeed. Right, now, Andrew, can you help us out with this? What is the connection between you and this classic TV show from the 1950s?
Oh, no.
That's not you.
No.
Go on.
No, no, please, you're not supposed to do this. How did you know? No, when I was a very little boy, and I have to say, I don't ride, but I did once, and I was auditioned to be the little boy at the front of Ivanhoe who had to say Ivanhoe.
Oh, on the horse, right?
Yeah, on the horse.
Yeah.
And thank goodness, I just sort of funked out of it. I just couldn't. I just thought, I mean, can you imagine that every single TV show now I would come on, you lot would all be putting me on with that little horse.
We still try to.
Goodness. You know. The other one I lucked out on was that I was asked if I would play the role of Amadeus in Mozart.
Were you?
Well, Mozart in Amadeus.
Yeah.
The other way round. And no, I mean, I thought, I'm not doing that. You know, and the more I kept saying no, the more they kept saying, well, it must be about money. And I kept saying, no. It's, I really do not want to play this role.
There you go. Well, they often say the key to success is what you turn down. Well done.
Well, Ivanhoe, back to Ivanhoe, which was based on the works of celebrated Scottish novelist Sir Walter Scott. And Arthur Smith has spent the night in the little castle that he called home.
Having spent the night here, surrounded by all the strange artefacts of Abbotsford, I realised Scott had created a kind of theme park just for himself, which he could use as an inspiration to write all his novels and poems. The house did overstretch Scott, but it was his business links with his bankrupt publisher that ruined him in 1826. He vowed, "My own right hand will pay the debt," but the increased workload ruined his health and he died 6 years later. Here, in one of the great houses of European romanticism, he turned marauding Highlanders into heroes, made tartan the national dress, and reimagined the history of his own country. It seems somehow appropriate that the country in question is Scotland.
God, looks lovely as well. Thank you very much, Arthur. So, Andrew, you've been a busy bee writing as well.
I have been.
Your first musical since 2010 is about to open to the public. It centres around the infamous Profumo affair that brought down the Macmillan government in 1963. And it starts, we heard the sort of tracks earlier on, it starts in a waxwork museum.
It starts in the Chamber of Horrors.
Yes, so why then?
Well, because Stephen Ward ended up as an exhibit in the Chamber of Horrors, and it really intrigued me when I started looking into the story. How could it be that this man, who was the most popular man in London, I mean, arguably easily so, I mean, who was osteopath to Gandhi, to Churchill, to Ava Gardner, I mean, how could he, great friend of Prince Philip, how could this man have ended up in the Chamber of Horrors? And so I began to research the story, and I thought, it's almost unbelievable. In fact, I mean, if I really told the story now to you, you wouldn't believe it. You'd say it's not even remotely a flyer as a musical because it seems so incredible.
Yeah.
But yet it happened. And what I'm finding really, really fascinating now is that we've played 5 shows so far, is the very intrigued reaction, I think, of the audience, because we're getting teenagers, particularly, who couldn't know anything about the story, saying, I mean, could this have happened? And goodness, there are so many parallels with what's going on with the press today and what's going on with the police today and all of that on the one hand. And you're getting older people who are older than me who really remember it. And in fact, one woman came up to me after the first preview and said, I was dreading this. Really? She said, I used to work for Jack Profumo when he was doing his charity work because, as you know, Profumo ended up, because he had to resign, doing charity work for the rest of his life. And this woman said, I mean, it's extraordinary. You've got it completely as it happened.
Wow.
So, I don't know. I can't tell you about this one. But all I can say is it's very funny, it's very witty, and I think it's a great history lesson.
Yes.
OK, well, I'll tell you what, let's have a look at a scene now. This is John Profumo's wife, Valerie, played by Joanna Riding, singing about standing by her disgraced husband.
You comes to you.
So you've been working really closely with Mandy Rice-Davies, who's at the heart of the scandal. You know, how does she feel about the scandal? And indeed, what do you want people to take away? Do you want them to take away from it, oh, that was a brilliant, entertaining night?
She's given me a lot of advice, and yes, of course, I mean, I want people to say it's been a great entertainment and that they've enjoyed themselves in the theatre. Yeah. But hopefully, I want them to take away a little bit more. I want them to be moved by it, and I want them to be questioning about how on earth something like this happened. And having Mandy tell me exactly what happened and really what went on in terms of the manipulation, I mean, and that's the word, manipulation of everybody, the girls who were made to give evidence against Stephen Ward in court and the like, has been unbelievably valuable.
And those papers still remain under lock and key.
Well, that's the thing. Why can't we see them till 2046?
Yeah.
Well, Stephen Ward officially opens on December the 19th at the Aldwych Theatre in London, and tickets are available now.
Now, whilst the country prepares for curbs on Romanian and Bulgarian migration to be lifted, thousands of migrants have already landed here in the UK with absolutely no controversy whatsoever.
What's amazing is that they managed to get here at all. Mike Dilger went to meet them before they left home to find out how.
Thousands of birds manage this same journey, and sometimes much further, without any of this technical assistance. For the Hooper swans who choose the British Isles as their winter destination, it's almost 1,000 miles from here in Iceland. In fact, October is the main southerly migration for hundreds of species making their own journeys to their wintering grounds, some covering staggering distances. Northern wheatears navigate an incredible 19,000 miles from Siberia to Central Africa, whilst the Arctic tern is the only bird to find its way from pole to pole. So how do birds manage these navigational miracles with no technology in sight?
General understanding is that when they're first born, they're using things like stars, the moon, the sun to orientate themselves. Also, when they're younger, they're starting to develop their magnetic sense, which is, of course, something that we don't have. Not only are they able to tell which way is north and south, just like a compass, but they'll also be able to work out where they are by sensing changes in the Earth's magnetic field as they fly from one place to the other.
What other cues do they use?
Once they've actually flown to a place a few times, they start to recognise the landmarks that they pass on the way. So they'll actually be able to say, oh, you know, I've passed this mountain range and I've passed this lake. Some birds use their sense of smell just the same way you would use it to find the bakery in a supermarket. You know, you go in and you follow your nose to the back of the store where the bakery is. But often they will use more than one at the same time, so they integrate this information, they sort of bring it together.
Although each of these senses must play a big part in how birds find their way from one place to another, what gets them moving in the first place is something else. And that's instinct.
Wow, these penguins, they were glued to that film. And this little fella here, he can't wait to tune in tomorrow and see how those swans survive that migration journey. Yeah.
Anyway, from swans and penguins to cats. I make it even worse because there's talk, Andrew, that Cats the musical may become a film. Is there any truth in this?
Well, it's been something that's been in the air for years.
Right.
But basically what's happened is that the success of the movie of Les Miserables has meant that everybody's looking now at old musicals and thinking, is there a possibility of making them again? And I think there is now, for the first time, a real possibility that Cats will happen. Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat is definitely happening. That's all right.
Big news. Is that an exclusive?
Well, it is actually, yes.
Oh, there we are. Thank you very much.
Some confidence somewhere, but that's actually been signed on the dotted line.
Good.
So,
oh, congratulations.
Good. Excited about both of those. Well, we know as well that you're working on School of Rock at the minute.
Yes, a thought.
A thought. So what could be better than a Christmas song from a fantastic rock choir?
With a very nice, neat haircut.
This is the local branch of Rock Choir, and I'm joining them for the day. First, there are some faintly bizarre warm-up sessions. A month to take part. Christmas songs just make you feel good. And may all your Christmases be
That's beautiful.
And on that note, that is all we've got time for tonight. Thanks very much to Andrew, and good luck with the Stephen Ward at the Aldwych Theatre.
Tomorrow, the Queen of Walford, Dot Cotton, aka actress June Brown, will be here. We'll see you at 7. Bye-bye.
Good. Thank you very much.